While I was on vacation, my competitors were grinding hard. I need to catch up. And in this episode, I try a +7 Ecodome, I attempt +6 and +7 Floodgate. I learn a new dungeon, the Dawnbreaker, from normal to up to a +7 attempt, with finally turning off the huge damage and heal numbers, as many of you strongly suggested. Did I time the 3 +7 dungeons? Stick around till the end to see if I pulled it off. A quick thank you to everyone who subscribed so far, and if you haven't yet, I'd love to have you on board. I start off with a +7 Ecodome. I thought I had to start farming the Gilded Crests to craft a weapon. Despite all the route issues I had in Ecodome in the last episode, I was sure that I could survive a +7 at this point. My friend decided to join me on his 5th ult. I applied to a +7 and get an instant invite. I forgot to mention that I was a new tank. As I gathered the first pull, I could have used more spells, but still the movement is much better. I have a defensive and we pump. The damage and heal numbers are still there. They will be turned off in the second half of the episode. DPS of this group is really good. We devoured the first boss pretty quickly. And now we get to the infamous pull. I thought that this time I will for sure pull the Sentinel. The double Sentinel pull is indeed challenging. Only a couple of days later, one of my viewers would tell me that the second Sentinel which I failed to pull in previous runs and was upset about it is actually not in the pool. In MDT, the Sentinel is extremely close to the pool, and I didn't doubt even for a second that it should be pulled with the dogs. As the mobs hit harder in +7, I mismanaged my defensives. I pressed pretty much all of them in the previous pool, and had nothing here. Even though the pack has few ads, they managed to kill me and my teammates. I quickly get the mobs before the boss, kick casts, and initiate the boss fight. During the intermission, I run to get the 2 ads, running with my back turned to the boss of course. As we're leaving the area, I'm confident that the count is accurate, completely oblivious to the fact that I had 1 extra Sentinel. By some kind of miracle, the underground bug wasn't pulled here. I placed the mobs incorrectly. Now, everything makes sense. I have to skip the Sentinel I had a lot of problems with. And with these 4 mobs, the count will be accurate. No issues with the boss, and this is my first time +7 dungeon this season as a tank. The dungeon was intense, a vibe, and several close calls. Pulling 2 Sentinels is a bad idea and should be avoided. It's been a while since my Floodgate runs, so I thought that I should run a +6 first, before I attempt a +7, to refresh my memory. I've been way too focused on Ecodome lately. As I was heading to the new zone to upgrade my cloak, my friend shared a pretty handy macros for opening the cloak upgrade window. You can find the macros in the video description. We found a group. I'm a bit nervous. Haven't been in Floodgate in a while, but muscle memory kicked in, I gathered the first pull and started blasting. It was a quick deathless run, and I get my +17 Rio with no loot of course. At that time I thought I had to learn a new dungeon. I've been pretty slow at it. There's a lot of resistance going into a new dungeon. I already know Floodgate and Ecodome, but I didn't let the comfort zone win. I decided to focus on the Dawnbreaker. I've done M0, but to be honest, I had no idea where to go after the first boss, so I headed to the normal difficulty. I don't understand how it killed me. I was outside of the blast radius. Anyway, good thing that it's not on a plus run yet. I thought I had the route memorized, so I applied to a +2. Within 30 seconds I was invited. Everything up to the first boss is pretty straightforward. By the 3rd dungeon this season, I found that now I only have to think about the route. Whereas in both Floodgate and Ecodome I was struggling with staying alive, especially the first dungeon I tried as a tank. But now the rotation and survivability is almost effortless. Lots of mistakes still, but now it's much easier to learn new dungeons. The Dawnbreaker I feel like is the easiest dungeon in terms of the route, but I still managed to forget about 2 packs here. We easily timed the dungeon. I made a couple of mistakes in the route, but other than that I was confident that I can time easily the dungeon on a higher difficulty. I applied to a +5 and to a +4. I thought at this stage I could skip a couple of key levels, since the route is pretty straightforward and I'm confident that I can stay alive. I was invited to a +4. The route is executed perfectly, no issues and no deaths. A bit of annoying roleplay, waiting for the last boss to arrive. I got +48 Rio and lots of confidence. Unfortunately, I had to go on a vacation for a week. Once I got back, I headed to open the vault. I had a terrible trinket and a hero track ring. I still had one green ring, so I finally replaced it. I got back late on Tuesday, so I had a couple of hours to get anything into the next vault. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for. I finally turned off the damage and heal numbers. Now I will be able to see what's going on in keys much better. Even though I haven't played for a week, I decided to skip +5 and get into +6 right away to warm up before I attempt a +7. I looked at the route. It was impossible to forget in 1 week. Once I got into the first pool, I felt like I haven't played for a month or two. The rotation was off, the dizziness was back. I thought I should have run a +2 to get back into shape. The packs before the first boss are pretty small, so there was no danger. I stayed alive, but my DPS was terrible, actually painful to look at. This pool is challenging, someone also tagged extra mobs, but by this point I was warmed up and got my confidence back. No issues with the route and count, a couple of random deaths by my group mates. But our boss fight is about to get extra challenging. The Holy Paladin didn't run out of the tank buster that fears everyone within the circle. He got feared into a nearby pack and got killed shortly after. I didn't have any defensive, so I had to kite for a while, but the boss had low HP, so that we killed it before we could wipe. The last boss is pretty much a training dummy. No issues, boring RP, and the +6 is timed. And now it's time to try a +7 Dawnbreaker. I gathered the first pull perfectly. I hopped on the mount right at the start. I started stacking Holy Power before the ads. I used Wrath and Toll and was doing more DPS than before. The first boss is a bit annoying. It spawns void zones and you have a tiny window when you can get it away from them. Also, flying away twice during the fight is not fun at all. It happened again during the second boss fight. My friend got feared into a set of ads. This time there were more mobs than the last time. Ads, affix, boss's mechanic, it was a lot to handle, and we started falling one after another. I stayed alive for like 10 seconds before they got me. But it's alright, we still had lots of time left. We killed the boss easily after the wipe, no one got feared this time. I'm not sure why I got stunned here. I was outside the green line. I wonder if this boss ever gets challenging in higher keys. I guess the Aoya thing that the boss does will start to hit hard at around +13. One snooze fest of a boss later and another +7 dungeon in my collection. To get the third +7 dungeon, we went to Floodgate. I applied and got an invite pretty quickly. The first pull was not my finest hour. It took me longer than usual to gather the mobs in one place. I used bubble and we started pumping. The DPS of my teammates is insane. The mobs melted pretty quickly. This pull is kind of awkward, hard to gather and lots of running while kicking casts. In higher keys this would cause lots of deaths. Need to rethink the route a little bit. I got lucky approaching the Big Mama boss. I had a lot of time to pull the 4 ads while the boss was far away. I forgot to mention this week's affix, a mob that has to be killed. Seems easy enough. The waves are as unforgiving as ever. Our healer and Mon got chained together, ran away from each other, and got gripped right into the several waves. The timer is looking great. I see how my gameplay gets better with each key. Can't wait to push +10s. Also, having 3 good DPS players helps a lot. Someone stole my paddle, so I had to use bubble to run through the other ones without getting stunned. And with that, I get my third +7 dungeon timed. I get +30 Rio. And now I'm sitting at the 813 Rio. So, currently I'm confident in Floodgate, Ecodome and the Dawnbreaker. In the next episode I think I will learn 2 more dungeons and also attempt +7. Let me know in the comments which dungeon is the most difficult this season in your opinion. Like, subscribe, so that I will see you in the next one.